Hello, it's Lewis Byford here, co-founder of Anthony George Recruitment and the Financial Planning Club, joined by a wonderful guest today. So over to you, Anick, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and a little bit about your background, if that's all right.
Hey, I'm Anick. I'm a director at Videre Financial Planning, which is a relatively new, directly authorised financial planning business.
Phenomenal, mate. Well, look, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Generally really appreciate you taking the time out on this very cold but sunny, definitely winter time now, for sure.
We're in the wrong country.
Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure. So tell us a little bit about your background. What's your story? How did you kind of get into the profession and maybe why you decided to go into the profession? Tell us a little bit about that story from your side.
So I was originally going to go do my PhD at
Right.
Durham. I had the published white paper, and I was going to pursue that. But I had a last minute 180 turn and decided to go into financial services. I appreciate everyone says they fell into it, but silly me made the active decision to go into it.
Amazing. And why? What was it? What was it that you saw? Did you see anything? Was it what was that process like?
So I've always been somewhat familiar with financial planning and financial advice from my upbringing. My household is very much open about money, and I've seen it through dad, etc. So I
Right.
knew about the profession. Then one of my friends, they had just become a financial planner as well, gone through the RO1 to RO6. So
Right.
had a chat with them about it, and once I really understood the alignment of people and numbers, to me it
Yeah.
made sense. So I had a bit of a crisis moment thinking, what am I going to do? Need to find a job in this profession that I want to do. Did what everyone does and flung out a million CVs and hoped for the best. And it was hard. I got rejected everywhere. Interestingly, I had a interview with Verve, so Kathy.
Right.
She
Yeah.
turned around and said, "Anick, we like you, but you just want to be a financial advisor, not a power planner."
Yeah.
I'm not knocking power planning, but I really enjoy that client interaction. Lewis,
That was your passion, wasn't it? I suppose that was your passion. That's where you wanted to be in the industry. So yeah, get that.
100%. I was absolutely crushed and devastated. I actually exchanged some messages with Kathy recently and said her rejecting me was the best thing for my career
Wow.
because I then joined a firm called Brookdorf and Brea in Harrogate. Now, I say were because it's now been sold. Um, Andrew, who was the managing director, was the old director of the IFP, which then I
Right.
think became the CISI, CFP, etc. So that
Okay.
way of financial planning, cash flow modeling, evidence-based investing, fee-only approach, it was great. So for
Yeah.
my view, I didn't realize it at the time, but I went in at a top firm.
Yeah.
When I was there, they all encouraged me to go through my exams.
Yeah.
Very much a community environment, and it was a high standard.
Yeah.
Through my time there, I ended up going from nothing. So the very first chat I had with one of the the ops directors at the time, he was a bit of an education session. He asked me to name some taxes. Generally, couldn't name any. and
Brilliant.
yeah, no idea. And it was one of those moments again where I was like, should I even be here? But fast forward quite a few, 3.5 years or so, and I went on to become a fellow in CFP.
Amazing.
So I really knuckled down into that. The irony is, I was a fellow in CFP before I was chartered because
Right.
I had all the exams and qualifications, but I didn't have the 5 years experience.
Yeah.
But it was a great place to be. Unfortunately, it was quite a long commute and life circumstances changed. So I ended up coming a bit closer to home.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, I moved on again and we set up Videre Financial Planning as it stands today.
Wow, fantastic. And you were just saying to me before we started, so you've just gone through the directly authorised route now from your side. So congratulations. You're now gone from an advisor to business owner. Is it with two other colleagues, did you say? Two of your business partners?
Yeah, that's right. So Luke and James. Luke is also a client-facing financial planner. He
Yeah.
has had his own business previously. He had two young kids, wanted to go again in a collaborative environment where
Yeah.
he was very much a lifestyle business, so it made sense given how aligned we are. And then there's James as well. James is a little different to us in terms of he's a dentist by trade.
Right.
So he understands the dental space and has built a community. So between all three of us, the dynamic works really well.
Amazing. Fantastic. Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about, what was kind of challenging for you, would you say? Well, one of the most challenging things so far from your perspective, getting into the industry or going through your qualifications or getting to where you are. Say, can you tell us something that you found kind of most challenging?
The concept of something being challenging is quite interesting without going too philosophical, because
Yeah.
everything's always challenging. And
Everything that is very true. Yes.
when you first get into the profession, you always think, oh, once I do RO6, I'm cruising. But
Yeah.
it's not, because something comes along after that. It's then onto chartered or the advanced. And then you think, oh, it's fine. But then you get thrown into client meetings, and then you're a
Yeah.
business owner. And then there's not one single defining challenging moment. But in terms of what was difficult for me, first of all, getting into the profession at first. Finding a firm that will take a chance on you, essentially.
Yeah.
Especially with a fresh slate, it's difficult.
It's massively difficult. And I think that is, one of the things I think we really want to highlight, in this conversation, that we want to try and make that easier for people, giving people an opportunity, to get into the profession, because there are so many people that want to come into financial planning, and we keep banging the drum out for an industry. We need more talent. We need more talent. But there's not enough firms giving the talent to the people that want to come in. It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard, because I hear it so often. It's frustrating.
It is, and often there's a bit of a catch-22. Firms want new talent, but they're not willing to take new talent on. So how do we progress and move forward?
Yeah.
And we're very much in a progressive space. There is a
Right.
perception of what the financial profession used to be
Yeah.
pre-IDR days, which is somehow we don't want to ever go back to again.
Yes.
So the more new talent that comes through, these fresh ideas, the profession moves forward, and that's what
Yeah.
we want, essentially, to take it forward, put it on the map, and deliver good outcomes for clients without going down consumer duty.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about, your experience around recruitment. So I hear that you've started to recruit. What's your experience around recruitment for yourself?
We've just brought on a new starter, Victoria, actually. It is her first official week.
Wow. This is fresh. This is really fresh.
Very, very fresh. So we bang the drum for what I've just said about. We want to bring good people in who get it, want to live it and breathe it. Victoria is a second careerist.
Right.
So we actually were put in touch via Haley, who we were on about at the start of this call.
Yeah.
We just want good people. Simple as that. Good people who want to do the right things for clients. We can teach all the skills. We want fresh ideas, fresh faces, new ways of thinking to
Yeah.
try and innovate and to make things better. Luke and I, as operationally focused, we have our process, which we stand behind and think it's great. But we're not immune to different ways of thinking. Within
Yeah.
Victoria's first week already, because she sees things differently, and Luke and I are obviously in the trenches, she's made suggestions, or what about if you think about X, Y, and Z? Absolutely brilliant. I
Yeah.
appreciate some firms aren't quite forward thinking, and we'll see that as a challenge.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of how do you find the right firm, and that is difficult in truth. But we're open to the challenge to see how we can collectively get better, which ultimately drives to better client outcomes. So they're getting the best out of the service that we provide.
Absolutely. And why did you decide to recruit? What was that point for you? What was that trigger?
Capacity issue.
Okay.
Bring more people in to help.
Yeah.
Essentially. So at that point, it's a conversation of how do we then help to alleviate that capacity, and there are various routes we can go down. For us, bringing new people in is very important for all those reasons that I've just mentioned.
Yeah.
I had a great exposure in. I was a fresh person into the profession.
Yeah.
had no experience, and I had a great start. Luke's journey into the profession was very different to mine. It was very much a older way, the traditional advisor,
Yeah.
eat what you kill, etc.
Yeah.
So we're both clear that we want to have a good environment. We want people to come and be comfortable in Videre, contribute, have a fulfilled role, be proud of the work that they do. And by giving people the platform to do so, they can exceed and deliver to do what they do best, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you say, what was your reason for going for fresh new talent against, existing talent or, someone with experience? Did you have that conversation with your fellow directors? What was their internal conversations like, and why did you end up going down the fresh new route, would you say? So bringing in that new talent.
Yeah, so we absolutely did have that conversation. It's difficult because we are so clear in our philosophy in how we want to go about financial planning.
Right.
Cash flow modeling first, financial planning first and foremost, fixed fee too, which is
Yeah.
different to the majority of the profession, I'd say. Now, when you get someone with a bit more experience, generally, but not always, it can be harder to move away from their tried and tested approach, which I understand because they've carved out a fantastic career doing things a certain way. So
Yeah.
you can come in and say,
Yeah.
actually, let's flip it around and do it completely different. It can be quite hard for people to see that. So
Yeah.
that was quite a big driver for us, given how we are different to quite a lot of firms out there,
Yeah.
and the fact that we can help mold someone into the way that we see it best working.
Yeah.
Um, on top of that, it's genuinely a want to give new people into the profession a great opportunity and platform,
Yeah.
and to help these people on their journeys too.
So, from your perspective now, then, what does that kind of next 6 months look like? Is there going to be a lot of training and development? Is that something that you've factored into kind of the onboarding? I don't, bearing in mind we're only a week in, but is that something that you've kind of thought about now? You've got Victoria joining you within the business.
Yeah, absolutely. I made a joke to Victoria before she joined that, look, we don't have a 500-page manual, Videre 101, exactly how
Yeah.
we do
We
things.
and you don't need it as well. Like people listening today, okay, you absolutely do not need that. You really don't. But you do need a little bit of, okay, where do I want to get my, new staff member to? Because you want to make them feel rewarded. You want to make them feel part of the culture. You want to make them feel, they really wanted in the business. So yeah, I totally agree with that comment. You don't need war and peace. You really don't. Because things change as well. That's what people forget. They write these big, hefty documents, and new processes coming, or new suppliers coming, technology's here. So it develops so quickly as well at the same time. So yeah, fair point.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly given AI and the advances in tech, things are constantly changing, so
Yeah.
it is quite difficult. But yeah, we've mapped out the next 6 months where we'd like Victoria to get to, new members of the team joining as well,
Yeah.
hopefully. The culture point you mentioned there is really interesting. So we're remote only, which
Yeah.
means culture is super important to get right. The traction framework, right person, right seat, is something that we very much are big fans of. And we have a traction framework within the business too. I appreciate
Yeah.
it's a relatively new business that might seem a bit way off, but for us, it's all about starting with the end in mind. Get the framework, get the processes in place now, whilst we can, before it becomes a mess to try and untangle and then rewire. But because of that, we want great people
Yeah.
as a part of the team, which makes it,
Absolutely.
when it comes to that recruitment piece, once
Yeah.
you identify the roles and responsibilities and what the right person looks like for that seat, it's actually relatively easier to then identify if this person should come on board and whether they're likely to be a culture fit or not. Of course, it's always a bit of an unknown until they settle in,
Yeah.
but hopefully it helps to help mitigate a bad
Yeah.
fit for both us and someone else joining the team.
100%. Could not agree with you more. That's something that we absolutely instill into business. The people firms that we work with, we talk very much around the traction, model, your 3-year business plan, your 12-month roadmap, your quarterly actions, your weekly metrics. So, instilling that is so, so important. So any recommendations for anyone that hasn't read the traction books, go out and buy it and read it over the weekend. Okay. You'll learn so much from it, but you've absolutely hit the nail there. You've identified where is the gap within my business. And a lot of owner managers don't do that. They get so busy and they get to capacity and they feel like, oh, I need to hire. And they sometimes hire the wrong people in the wrong seat. I've seen it so many times where I will do an audit on someone's business and I'll look at everyone's roles and responsibilities and the amount of times that I'll see a power planner and 50% of their working days doing admin tasks, and that frustrates me, because I feel like we need to really be clear on everyone's roles and responsibilities that we need to deliver on, so yeah, really good that you've gone down that route. What would be kind of a hint or a tip that you would give to employers that are looking to recruit, new entrants into the industry? What would your tip be for anyone listening?
Look past the CV in terms of qualifications and look at the person. I appreciate that might sound quite wishy-washy, but genuinely find great people and will contribute to the team in such a great way. Again, I get that sounds simple and it's a lot harder to execute because finding great people can be more difficult. But we continue to have multiple conversations with second careerists and people that want to come into the profession.
Yeah.
And even if time's not right, it's really useful to have these interactions.
Yeah.
And to help people on the way. I had one last week. They couldn't come on board for various reasons and the time wasn't quite right. But by giving some of that experience, some of our insight, you never know when things might come back around.
Very true.
And I think in the profession, previously anyway, there's very much a perception of we have to keep everything to ourselves and not share. But the more collaborative and open we are, the better it makes us all. And good karma comes back around.
Yeah.
You never know when someone's path might cross or mention your business or firm, and it comes back in a nice way. So give time back, and I appreciate we're all busy people. But where possible, try and give time back and try and see people for the great people that they are.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Really great tip. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time for joining us. And yeah, it's very, very greatly appreciated. Really appreciate that.
Thanks,
Thank
Lewis.
you.